Hello everyone and welcome back to another Workbook Mastery video. This one is all about defining and refining your vision. As a leader, you'll spend a lot of your time trying to get people to understand the change that you're trying to bring about, and having a clear guiding vision helps people understand more quickly, but it also helps people to buy in and support more too. So based on your feedback, we've put together this quick video to get the most out of the workbook. Before we begin, the links are in the description below, including where to find the free download to the workbook. There are also articles, blog articles, and other great tools. Make sure you log in or subscribe to make sure you don't miss any updates. Speaking of updates, since we're constantly updating these workbooks, what you see when you download the workbook might be a little bit different from what I show on screen, and that's okay. By following this video and understanding the fundamentals, you'll be able to handle any updates we make. One of the most important of these fundamentals is the ability to dig deeper, refine your own questions. We use the so what principle over and over again, and this video will be no exception. So hang on, and here we go. All right. The first thing we need to understand is that your vision is not your plans. It's not your SMART objectives. Your vision is your picture for what things will look like when whatever problem you're tackling is fixed. That's the key to what you're selling people on, by the way. You're not trying to convince them that the steps are going to be fun. They're not. For many people, change is uncomfortable and definitely not fun. There's a really good reason for that, by the way, and you can find more information on our blog page. The first thing you're trying to do is to show people that the end outcome that you have in mind is going to be worth the change. That's the big thing. That's the one thing that makes your vision as a leader one of the most important tools you have. We keep coming back to that point, by the way. We cover it in depth in our online course, From Technical to Exceptional, and it's a core concept you'll see in many of our blog posts and articles. If you're interested in accelerating your learning, we've included a link in the description below with a bonus discount code, so check it out. We know that the vision isn't your objectives. It's not your plans. Vision is what things will look like when you've solved whatever problem you've set your sights on now. But vision, objectives, and plans absolutely go together. If you look at the diagram in the middle layer, your objectives are the things that, if you achieve them, will bring you to your vision place. They can be linear, that is, you got to do one after the other, like waypoints on a map, or they could be things that can be worked on at the same time by different groups. Regardless, when we look at the bottom layer, those objectives are achieved through one or more plans. Here's where things get to step-by-step level of detail that lays out how each objective will be achieved. We'll go deeper in a moment, but at the top level, this is your vision planning pyramid. In order to get our vision clear, we need to gather the right information and then come up with the right answers. That's the whole point behind this workbook. Sometimes we see something or we witness something at work or even at home, and it bothers us. We see it as a problem that needs to be fixed. A lot of times we're right on that level. We've seen it, though, in a lot of our courses where a lot of people don't think things through far enough. They go, wow, I see something, I don't like it, it's a problem, we need to fix it. And they go and blurt that out to whoever's listening. And that usually gets them shut down pretty quick. That's just a lack of thinking it through. And what we want to do with this workbook and what we want you to do is to be able to think it through and connect what you're seeing with what you need to change, and do it in a way that you can get people to see your point of view. So you don't do this, fail to think it through most of the time, and most of the time people won't even give you the time of day to listen to your point of view. Another thing you'll see in this workbook, and you'll hear us talking about often, is that what you're seeing or witnessing are symptoms, and they're not the root of the problem. Keep that in mind because you're not trying to fix the symptoms. When you fix the root of the problem, the symptoms will stop. On the other hand, if you chase symptoms, you're not going to get anywhere. You'll see more symptoms. You'll see different symptoms. You'll actually cause new and wonderful problems that you didn't expect before. The first step in the workbook is to identify the symptoms that you're observing. Who's affected? Is it you? Is it your group? Is it one person in your group? When does it happen? Is it a one-off? If it's a one-off, you're probably not going to go around and try to change the organization so it doesn't happen again, unless it was something really serious, like a workplace accident. Who's affected? When does it happen? How often? Can you predict when it's going to happen again? When it happens, what negative impact does it have on a team members, processors, deliverables, or your customers? While you're looking at the negatives, take a look and make sure that you don't overlook any positive impacts on groups or individuals. Sometimes the problems we see in organizations are what's good for one group has a negative impact on other groups. And if you don't see that, if you don't understand that, then you won't necessarily know why you're having such pushback when you try to, quote unquote, solve this problem. Once you've recorded the observed symptoms, now's time to do some deep thinking. This is where we get to the so what. When whatever it is that happens, what's the impact? What happens from there? Usually there's a chain reaction. And really, this goes back to what matters to your organization. So we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. The next step, once you've got your symptoms, is to start to frame the problem statement. You don't have to use the one that's in the workbook, by the way, or you can use it and you can change it, but if you don't have anything else, this is a really good starting point. The goal is for you to start to connect the symptoms to the actual problems, and connect the actual problems to the real impact that it has on your organization. Keep in mind that most organizations don't care much about things and don't care about many things when faced with a need to change. Most people are like that too, by the way. The point you need to understand is that your organization will care about some things. You need to know what those things are. Those are the things that are big enough and important enough to make it want to change what it's doing on a daily basis. Some of the examples include, does your organization care about losing competitive bids? Is it about customer value in terms of money? Is it a change in the cost of goods or services sold? Is it about regulatory compliance? Is it about fines and penalties? At the end of the day, you need to know, because what you're trying to solve, if what you're trying to solve doesn't impact those things that matter, then your organization isn't going to do anything, and you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to fight a good fight, but there's going to be no incentive and no urgency for your organization to take what you're trying to do and get behind you. This is also the place where the infamous so what question that we love to ask comes up. So what is short for a bunch of different questions. So what does this mean? So what does imply? So what does this impact? So what does this cause to happen? These are all great questions, and when you're trying to frame your problem statement, you should be going back over and over again and trying to make sure that you understand the actual and final impact as it matters to your organization. Not about how you feel about it. You already know you want it to change. It's really about how it impacts your organization and why they might want to get behind your change. Now that we're starting to put the pieces together, it's time to sharpen your vision further. Think about it. When your vision is blurry or out of focus, what do you do? What do you do when you can't see clearly? For me? Well, I opted for lasers. For you and your vision here, you can bring it into focus by asking yourself the right questions and following through the process. The problem is solved. What changes will we see in daily activities? How will things work or flow differently? What business processes will change and how? On the human side, how will things be different? For example, will there be fewer nasty meetings? Will teams be set up to fight less because processes have changed? The human side matters, but that's not enough to get your organization to change. So you need to connect that to what happens downstream. Finally, the reconfirmation is for you, again, to think about the problem in a different way. It's to think about your vision in a different way. Back in the previous page, you figured out that if you couldn't connect how this problem impacts your organization in a way they care about, your change is dead in the water. It's the same thing here if you can't figure out how to prove or measure or demonstrate how your change is going to make things better, and these are the things that your organization cares about. So if you can't prove it, if you can't show it, if you can't demonstrate it, then it's not really worth pursuing as a change. And if it's really worth pursuing as a change, then the other way around applies too. Figure out how to measure it, how to prove it, how to demonstrate it. Seek help from a mentor, from your boss, from somebody else within the organization who's got some insights into what's going on. Because if it matters, you can figure out how to measure it. If you can figure out how to measure it, then you can demonstrate it, and you start to put some credibility behind what you're saying. It may take you longer to do your homework and to work through this process, but at the end of the day, you'll be a better leader, even if you're not a manager, and your credibility will go up instead of down. The other thing that'll happen is you'll see the world at work a little bit differently, and that's a good thing. That's a leader developing further. This was just a short view on how you can take the Vision Mastery worksheet and use it from wherever you are, from whatever starting point you're at, and see how to look at the world differently. See how to make your vision sharper, clearer, and make it easier for you to make positive changes in your organization. Let us know what you thought of this video and the workbook in the comments below. If you have questions, leave them there, and you may get your own special episode. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss out on our new segments. The links to the workbook, the blog, and the discount code for the course are also in the description below.